Here we are again, 5.2, except this is going to be part 2. First couple slides, I'm not talking so you don't have to write anything out because that's from part 1. So let's get into it, shall we? So this first question, I'm giving you the zeros right here, and you have to write this in standard form. So you basically have to work backwards. So if I were to write this out, this would be kind of like if I had x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to 2, and x is equal to 3. I want to rewrite it so it looks like a binomial. So it set it equal to 0. So I have to undo what I did. So I'm going to add to this first one. This is like x plus 2 then. For the second one, I have to subtract 2, because this is like x minus 2. And this third one, I have to subtract 3, so this would be like x minus 3. Once they're all equal to 0, then I want to multiply them all together. So I have my x plus 2 times my x minus 2 times my x minus 3. Now when you're doing this, you should get the same answer at the end, but it does not matter which two binomials, they're binomial because there's 2 in each parentheses, you multiply it together first. So I'm just going to multiply these first two together. So we have x times x, that will give me x squared. X times negative 2 will give me negative 2x. 2 times x will give me 2x, and 2 times negative 2 will give me a negative 4. Now that's in parentheses because this is still being multiplied by my second binomial. So I'm going to combine my like terms here. So this first one actually simplifies to be x squared minus 4 times x minus 3. And now I multiply out again. X squared times x will give me x cubed. X squared times negative 3 will give me negative 3x squared. 4 times x, negative 4, will give me negative 4x, and negative 4 times negative 3 will give me positive 12. There's no like terms here, so this right here would be my final answer from working backwards. So this is in standard form because my highest degree is first, and then going down in numerical order, and that's it. So for this one, I have negative 2 here twice, so I'm going to just write it twice. Now a lot of people might want to just write it like this. However, if you write it like that, that is incorrect. Remember, you have to work backwards. So this is like x is equal to negative 2. So to undo that, you have to add 2 to both sides. So this would actually be x plus 2. When we're going to write this third term, this would be like x minus 2. And the fourth one would be x minus 3. Now I'm going to FOIL the first two. So x times x is going to give me x squared. X times 2, 2x plus 2x plus 4, that's in parentheses. Now I'm going to multiply these next two. X times x will be x squared, x times negative 3, negative 3x, negative 2x, and positive 6. Now if I combine my like terms, then I would have x squared plus 4x plus 4 times x squared minus 5x, because it's negative 3 minus 2 plus 6. Now again, you have to multiply this out too. You can do it the FOILing method, but when I have more than 3 terms multiplied, I sometimes like to do it the box method. So the box method would be such as this. I'm making a box, making 3 by 3. So this first one, it doesn't matter which side these are on, but this first one I'm going to write the terms on the side. So x squared, positive 4x, and a positive 4. And this next trinomial, I'm going to write on top, so x squared. I'm going to keep that subtraction with that number, and then when I multiply this out, x squared times x squared would give me x to the 4th, because I'm multiplying these two together. This next box right here would give me negative 5x cubed, and my last box would be 6x squared. Now again, I'm multiplying this down with this across. So this next one would be 4x cubed. This becomes a negative 20 because negative 4 times negative 5 x squared because I have two x's. Last one would be 24x. And last but not least, I would have 4x squared minus 20x plus 24. Now when you're doing this, the box method, the like terms should be diagonal. So if you look here are all like terms, these three are all like terms, and these two are like terms. So there's no other x to the fourth, so that's going to be my first number out in front. Then I can combine these two together, which would give me a negative x cubed. Then I have 3x squares to combine together, which would give me a negative 10x squared, because I have 4 plus negative 20 plus 6. And then these next two terms, negative 20 plus 24, would give me 4x, and finally 24. So this would be my final answers. Now I'm going to sketch the graph, and you have to make sure they have the correct y-intercepts and x-intercepts. So if I'm going to have my x-intercept, that's when y is equal to 0. So my zeros here, first thing you should do is find your zeros. So I'd have x plus 2 is equal to 0, I'd have x minus 1 equal to 0, and x minus 3 is equal to 0. So my zeros here are x is equal to negative 2, because I have to subtract 2. This would be x is equal to 1, because I have to add 1. And this one would be x is equal to 3, because I would have to add 3. So I'm first going to plot those 3 points. So when x is negative 2 goes through the y-intercept, or the x-intercept, x is 1, and x is 3. So I'm plotting those two first. So plot points. The next thing you should do is find where your y-intercept. So find your y-intercept, that means that x is equal to 0. So if I look at my equation here, I'm going to have y equals, I'm going to plug 0 into each point that I have to figure out what my y-intercept would be. Now if I'm going to solve this, then this would be like 2 times negative 1 times negative 3. So that's going to be equal to, y is equal to 6. So where it goes through the y-intercept would be right up there at 6. So you also want to evaluate in between your zeros. So in this case, what I'm going to do is figure out a number on the left side of each zero. So over here, I'm going to evaluate what if x is equal to negative 3. I'm going to pick, this zero is already in between these 2 points, so I don't need anything there. I'm going to pick a point in between here, these two zeros. So I want to pick a point in between these two zeros here. So I'm going to pick 2. So again, I'm just picking numbers to evaluate. And then finally, I want to pick a point that's on the left-hand side, someplace on this side of my point. So I'm going to pick 4, just because. And I'm going to evaluate, put those into my calculator. So meaning, if I plug negative 3 into my equation, let's just do that one first. Negative 3 plus 2, and then have negative 3 minus 1. And negative 3 minus 3. If I plug that in, you would get equal to negative 24. So that means when you graph that point on where negative 3 is, it's going to be going down. So I'm going to be pointing my arrow down like so. Then I'm also going to evaluate when x is equal to 2. If x is equal to 2, I put it back into my equation right up here, and I would get y is equal to negative 4. And finally, if I evaluate when x is equal to 4, again, you plug this number into each individual x here and evaluate, you would get that y is equal to 18. So now if I draw this picture out, on the left-hand side it was going negative, and then I have my 0 up here, so I'm just drawing a rough sketch. And then at 2, it went down to negative 4, so I'm going to plot that point because that will help me for my reference. And then at 4, it went up to 18, so someplace up there. So then I have my endpoints correctly, so it's negative or down, up. I have my y-intercept correct, and I have my x-intercepts correct. So you need all the information when you are sketching a graph. So this next one want you to try to attempt yourself. So your first step is to find the zeros. Second, find the y-intercept. Third, evaluate in between the zeros, and then sketch it. So I have all my information here. First, I'm going to plot my zeros. So x equals 0, x equals 3, x equals -5. Now with my y-intercept, if you look here, that's also at 0. So that actually overlaps with my other x-intercept. So that's why I need 4 points to evaluate instead of 3, because I need to evaluate a number at both ends. Over here, you have to evaluate a number over here, and then in between each point. So I picked -6 because that's on the left-hand side. I picked -2 because that's in between these two. I picked 2, that's in between these two zeros. And I picked 4 because that's on the right-hand side. So now when I look at this, at -6, it's really a large negative number. So that's pointing downward. And then at -2, it's off my graph at 30, so I have to go up someplace up here, and then point back down, and then at 2, it's down someplace down here, and then going back up. So this would be a good sketch of this graph. So now I can see that the end behaviors are down, up, and also that I can see all of the intercepts. Make sure you took great notes, so you should have all examples. Have a wonderful day.